All right, hopefully that has now done it. Fifth time lucky. Wondering if anybody is able to confirm that we're live, if they can see anything on the Steam page, and if you could let us know in the Discord chat as well, that would be fantastic. And as soon as we have
Here we go.
some
Awesome.
kind of
It's working.
confirmation, it's working. Fantastic.
Yep.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Only 30 minutes behind schedule, which really isn't that bad in game dev terms and in terms of delays and all that kind of thing for our first ever AMA. Very happy to share that the bug came down to one digit, a keyframe interval. So all future streamers, Steam streamers that don't want to run into the same issue, make sure you have your keyframe interval set to 2, and you can avoid embarrassing yourself on your first ever live stream. Cool. All right. So I'm going to start back a little bit because we announced this on Discord and on Twitter and as part of the Melbourne International Games Week, beginning with the questions that have been posted in our AMA channel on Discord. So to kick things off, I'm going to introduce the team and obviously welcome everyone to our first ever live stream. My name is Craig Ritchie. I'm the co-founder of Bytes and the game director on Broken Roads. Incredibly happy to be where we are right now with Team 17 support, going live on Steam, being invited to the Melbourne International Games Week Steam Festival by Creative Victoria and Film Victoria, so huge thanks to them. And with me here is our audio lead, Tim Sunderland. Tim, do you want to just give a quick little intro to yourself?
G'day. Yep. As Craig said, my name's Tim, and I do all the audio for Broken Roads.
Cool. And alongside Tim is our art director, Kirsten Evans.
Hello. Yeah, I direct the art things and generally just cause chaos.
She makes all the pretty pictures and ensures that the big brushstroke, beautiful art style in Broken Roads is consistent with our vision. So cool. I am going to turn my head over to some of the old questions that came in the last couple days, and then we are going to also be catching up on live questions in Discord and in the Steam chat. So sort of starting from the top. Now, the Scarlet Bitch, I don't know if you are online, an active community member, has been really engaged and clearly shows a lot of passion in the community, which is awesome, has asked how in-depth is the cover and positioning systems in combat, and is crafting a relevant part of it? Well, combat's something we've been spending a hell of a lot of time on and adjusting. There's a number of tweaks and design changes on the go right now. We will share a lot of details. We showed very, very early visions of combat a year ago at Gamescom 2020, and you can see snippets of a grid-based, turn-based combat system in the game. Cover is important, but we are right now working with co-development at Team 17, some really experienced designers, to help us reach that balance between approachability of the fun side of combat with the over technical tactical side of combat. We want to find that place where people who may have recently come to the genre since, I don't know, Disco Elysium days, or prefer a lighter combat, can enjoy themselves as well without getting bogged down in too many rules. We've also looked at the likes of obviously Shadowrun and XCOM and various other tactical games that have a more simplistic cover system. So we're looking at differences between full cover, half cover. Do we do line of sight? Do we do ray casting? Do we do, if you're next to this object, you have that much cover? Hey, still TBD. There'll be a full video devlog explanations once we've got something else to share. But there's quite a lot of work going into the combat, and there has been since we last showed off any combat. We know it's been a while since we released any details. We just want to come out with the clear message and facts that we can commit to when we do next show combat. Now, in terms of crafting is not going to be a big part of this game. It's purely a matter of scope and time and what else we're trying to prioritize. There are going to be recipes. I think that the best example would be something like in Baldur's Gate 2, there's a dwarven smith who says, if you get me all these different flail heads and these different ingredients, I can create for you, say, the flail of ages. So you have a specific unique item set that you have to collect and then take to somebody, and they'll put it together, more so than gather these resources, get 10 sticks and 5 rocks, and we can craft something. So that's not something that we have planned, like actual crafting. Next up, we have Purple Blob. So Purple Blob asked quite a few questions about companions and the different types of companions and what details we're able to provide. So right now we have a roster of 7 different companions, and we've been playing around with different sizes of party. Solo, 1 companion, 2 companions, all the way up to 5 companions. Looks like we're settling on player plus 4 companions. They are all uniquely written. They all have their own personality. They all have their own place on the moral compass. They all have different stats and skills. When you level up, they go in a particular direction, but we're looking at, while they have their attributes, strength, agility, so on, they have different skills, and the player can have an impact on their skills. I'm just going to follow the rest of the question. If I take whoever I find interesting in terms of the story, will I still be able to get through most of the combat encounters without much trouble? So that's something that we just have to balance and test and test and test. Every character is meant to be able to suit the whole party and every viable player character build. So we really don't want to have people in the party who are useless or don't complement each other. We're just creating our characters based upon, one could say, RPG archetypes. So this person is kind of like a ranger in D&D, for example. So that's kind of how we've been approaching their combat roles and making sure that it's consistent with how they fit into the narrative. The next question is from Seno, a very active community member who's also made a fantastic board game. Tim, can you remember the name of the board game?
Silverwood Grove.
Silverwood Grove. We backed it on Kickstarter.
I'm still waiting to get mine.
Just
wait for it to rock
Seno,
up.
speed it up, mate. Come on.
Come on, mate. Come on.
Seno asked one of the toughest questions, and I don't mind these hard-hitting. Team 17 might not want us to talk about this, but Seno asks, Pepsi or Coke? And I'm going to hand this one over to Tim.
Oh, Coke all the way.
That easy? That easy for you?
That easy. Yeah.
Kirst, anything to add or counter?
Depends why you're drinking it.
Interesting. Very interesting.
Good old Pepsi Max in a can. It's a good pastime, but if you got a rum and Coke, it's good. I mean, it's got to be with Coke.
There you go.
That's the whole point.
None of that post mix cola. No.
Nah.
Exactly. So Senna, I hope that answers your burning questions, and feel free to follow up by email if you're not satisfied. In a similar way, we have from Slater666, what type of shapes are best? I have some strong opinions on this, but again, I'd rather hear from Tim and Kirst, our authentic Australians. What type of shapes are best?
Kirst, you're an artist, so you're all about shapes.
Triangles, probably. Rule of thirds. I don't know.
Yeah, true.
They're stable.
Yeah. See, now I kind of differ because my take is I like the chicken crimpy shapes and the barbecue as well as the cheese and bacon shapes.
Oh, those shapes.
So while, I'm not going to invalidate your opinion, Kirst.
Food, it's a whole different bag of beans.
Yeah,
It's gotta be.
Pizza are good.
Well,
Barbecue.
chicken crimpies though, like as a child, I didn't really eat many shapes, and then so when I got my little hands on some chicken crimpies, it was a good time.
Cool.
So.
They're very Moorish though. You can open a packet and finish a packet in like one sitting.
Cool.
It's dangerous.
Yeah. So yeah, I hope that again answers these really important community questions. I hope you don't mind. We're going to turn our attention back to the video game now. I know that might upset Seno and Slater. A question for Kirst. Why Western Australia instead of everywhere else in Australia?
Why is this a question for me?
Because you are the art director and we have so many beautiful references for the beautiful landscape.
Well, that's the thing. So, yeah, if it were my choice, I might have picked the East Coast because I live and I'm from the East Coast. I live right next to the bush, actually. But as Craig said, it is Australia. It was the backdrop for Mad Max for a reason. And it's just about time that we showed off our country rather than it being appropriated in other forms of media, that are set in other countries and stuff. So, there's no question. If you actually do have a look around at some of the locations, once you know what they are, you'll see that it's, it's all there for us. We didn't have to be all that creative to make it look a post-poc and fit in with the theme of the game.
Cool, thank you. Another one that's kind of general, so I'm going to open this up to Tim, and then Chris, I'd like to hear from you as well. This comes from 80, and it is, what is the number one game that inspired you to become a game dev? Not necessarily what inspired Broken Roads, but rather what inspired your career, that game that made you go, I want to make games one day. Tim.
Oof. I love Super Mario Brothers 3. Super Mario World 3 when that came out. I was just like, the different worlds, you find all little secrets, all the little hidden things, the music. Obviously Mario, it's a classic gameplay, that platformer. I think playing that as a kid, I was like, oh, this is heaps of fun. I'd love to build something like this one day, as simple as the art was, that old school pixel art, it's still just something about it that's just amazing. So I'd say probably that one for me.
Right on. Kirst?
I can't really remember, I don't think, the first time, but I remember the most significant time when I realized that concept art was a thing. Was Dante's Inferno by EA. Wayne Barlow did a bunch of artwork for the Rings of Hell on it. And I was like, oh, hang on. People need to actually draw this stuff before it goes in game. And I was like, I want to do that, and I'm doing that. So that's pretty cool. But that came out when I was 14, so it was an MA 15 plus game, but I got it and I played the heck out of it. It's a bit like God of War if you haven't played it before. And yeah, it's about the poem by Dante. So it's really good.
Cool.
But yeah.
Awesome. For me, it was probably Ultima 6. So that was, I can't even remember now. We were looking back about 31 years ago. The first time I'd really felt free in a game was in King's Quest 2 by Sierra. And the first time I felt unbelievably free in a massive world that didn't have flip screen as the King's Quest and the Sierra Adventures did was Ultimate, which was an RPG about, it has the virtues and it has combat and it has exploration and it has strong themes and it's got a strong tie to philosophy as well. And I think that was the one that made me go I might actually want to do this. The first time I actually tried to make a game was a text adventure in BASIC on the Acorn Electron in the mid 80s, inspired by a very old adventure game called Sphinx Adventure. But that was more just I want to make a game, but I think it was the Ultima series that was wow, I really would like to make games. Cool. The next one's about the moral compass. This comes from Flatsinky. How much does the morality system actually affect gameplay? Is it story altering or purely for flavor? Well, the moral compass is really at the heart of the design for the entire narrative. It's central to every character. It influences your relations with your companions. It influences how people in the world react to you. It influences how you can solve certain quests and which quest resolutions are open to you. And it also affects which possible endings you can reach. We're trying to make it as far-reaching as we can through moral traits, which are things that you can unlock once you've spent enough time in a particular quadrant. Dialogue choices, obviously that's the easiest one to represent, and I think we've shown quite a bit of that before, right down to elements in combat. So the moral traits might give you some stat boost or skill boosts, whereas in combat a person of a particular morality might be willing to do certain things or not willing to do other things. You might find dialogue moments that pop up during combat at key moments because all of the combat is handcrafted as well. So we're going to have the story and the morality play into the combat and the combat outcomes as well. It's really central to the game, really central to the idea of Broken Roads. So yeah, definitely far more than just flavor. Another one from Seno, particularly active in the questions there. If you could work with any property, which I'm going to assume is any game IP, what would you choose? So I'm going to hand this one over to Tim and Kirst. If you could work with any game property, what would it be?
Ooh, that's a toughie. I love the Elder Scrolls stuff. Like the Skyrim soundtrack is just unreal. So, yeah, if I had any opportunity to score for a game, it'd probably be one of the Elder Scrolls games. Yeah.
Totally. Kirst? Oh, we've lost your audio. I think you muted, Kirst.
I just muted myself.
There we go.
I was going to say, where are you going to ask this?
Why Senna? Blame Senna.
The first thing that jumps to mind would be Guild Wars 2 with ArenaNet, because that's what initially sparked my interest. That was like when I was a student, I want to go to AAA, so I'm going to go there. And just because they've got a really, just the art in the game and the concept art and the way they do it, I really vibe with. Very different to how a lot of other games were doing it, and I really admire, followed the artists like Theo Prinz and Keka Kotaki, and yeah, for quite a while. So probably them, Elder Scrolls as well, and yeah, all those kinds of things. Bethesda, Fallout, you name it.
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. I'm just going to tick that one off and then move on. All right. Similar, again from Senna. Deserted islands. What 5 games would you be happy to be stuck on a deserted island with?
Okay, I would go Mario Brothers All Stars. That's just one game.
That's cheating.
As far as I'm concerned. Skyrim. Maybe Sea of Thieves. No irony there.
A little bit ironic.
Probably Halo 3.
Okay.
What's number 5? Number 5, something old school. Oh, geez, I don't know.
We can cap it at 3 or 4 then.
Yeah.
Senna can't have everything he wants, you know. So, Kirst, what about you? 5 games in a deserted island.
Fire Emblem Awakening, Fallout 3, Civ 6, probably Age of Empires 2, because we've been playing a lot of that, and Phasmophobia, because we've been playing a lot of that too.
So what if your internet doesn't have internet? Excuse me, your desert island doesn't have internet.
I can play all these by myself.
Nice.
It's fine.
Awesome. Okay, I'm going to quickly jump over to some live questions because I see the AMA channel is getting a little bit busier. All right. I see a question from Flo. What's your favorite gameplay moment while playtesting Broken Road so far? Tim or Kirst, do you have a favorite gameplay moment while playtesting?
Ooh.
Go for it, Tim.
I don't know. Lately, the animations are really starting to come together. So anytime there's any kind of character animation, it's like, wow, that looks so cool. Like it really brings the world to life. Can't really talk about the scene, but there's a couple in particular lately that are just like, that's awesome. Yeah,
totally.
Yep.
Yeah. For me, I think it's when I've been focusing on a particular scene or story moment for a while, and then I playtest something that's come in from one of the other writers that has, been hooked up, and we've got these animations that Tim was just talking about, or we've got new VFX that I haven't seen yet. I actually get to play or experience something as a player for the first time, because as the game director and one of the writers, I'm across so much of the dialogue and so much of the quest design that it's all spoiled before I get to experience. But every now and then I get to play test something and read lines I haven't read before, and as a narrative-driven game, that's really awesome. So that's one thing that I really enjoy. Senna, you just don't stop. Tell us one Easter egg you've hidden, not necessarily where, just what. So I wonder if we do want to talk about Easter eggs at this time. Kirst, have you got anything coming to mind? I mean, we definitely have quite a few. Just do we want to reveal them?
Nah.
Sorry, Senna, rejected. Let's move.
Keep.
Mhm.
Yeah, we've got. I would just say we've got some cheeky stuff in there. It's probably not what you would expect. There's a lot of quirky stuff. Our whole team has a really good sense of humor. We put a lot of personal stuff into it, so I think we'll be really excited to show that. But I'm not sure how much we've actually implemented yet. It's quite a list.
Yeah,
It's quite a
Well,
list.
there's an entire.
There's a couple of things I've buried in the audio, but it's so under so much reverb and delay and distortion that you're never going to tell it's there, and it's purely just like a textural moment. But there's a couple. Yeah.
Oh, actually, with this and kicking back to the question about gameplay, what's your favorite thing? It's not an Easter egg, but if you go inside a pub, it's just Tim talking to himself over and over.
Yes.
And that's been my favorite moment playing the game.
Nice.
Yeah, we had to get that ready for PAX, and I was like, I need to create some pub ambience. Oh, I'll just sit here and have a conversation. How you going, mate? Yeah, not too bad.
Just
And then I
over
layered
and over.
that like 15 times or whatever in different voices, like, yeah, g'day, not too bad. It's good to see you, mate.
Yeah, that's our audio lead.
So if
There
you
we go.
listen really carefully, you'll hear some terrible dialogue. Yeah.
There you go.
Cool.
Yep.
I see that the captain and a few other people have asked this. Let's get straight to the point. Is Broken Roads demo out? No, there isn't a Broken Roads demo. There is some confusion on the Steam page where we listed as part of this event, because it doesn't always make it clear the difference between a featured game and a game that has a demo. You can be on the featured game thinking you're on the page for games that have demos. People have asked about this on Twitter as well. There isn't a Broken Roads demo. We would love to have one in the future, but just to clarify, there is no demo right now for this Steam event. Somebody was asking about Zoom, so just I want to make sure that this is clear and that I'm also understanding the question. We've shown various screenshots of different scenes. We've got different trailers, and they have different zoom levels. It's simply standard RPG zoom in or out scrolling with the mouse wheel. So sometimes you will see a picture that's really zoomed out and showing a lot of the area. That might be either the max zoom from the game, or it might be we've pulled it out, in Unity to give you a larger picture of the area that you're in. In future trailers, you'll be able to get a pretty good idea of what is the max zoom. And, if more people ask about this, we can easily put a dev blog together and show the zoomed out and zoomed in. Cool. Let me just have another look. So that was from Cool Ozgirl, so I hope that answers that. Cool Ozgirl also asks, what was your inspiration for the characters and what is your most favorite part on working on the art? So inspiration for characters, I mean, I'll sort of kick that off, and then obviously most favorite part working on the art, I'll hand over to Kirst. Inspiration from the characters, there's a particular type of post-apoc that we wanted to have. We didn't want to be as far gone as, say, Mad Max 2 is a pretty good idea of okay, that might be like the extreme of the post-apoc we're going for. And then on the earlier side, Mad Max 1 is probably, we're a little bit further than that. So we would situate our, how brutal the world is somewhere between those two movies. We've got bits of each, but we didn't want to be one or the other. And it was when I was reviewing Kirsten's character art that I came across a particular character, I think named Ali, and I was like, if that's the exact look that I want. And we had some characters in mind and just developed them from that idea that I mentioned earlier about having RPG archetypes in the characters that also really strongly fleshed out companions like Baldur's Gate rather than sidekicks with no personality like Icewind Dale. Can't right now think of more contemporary examples. Maybe some of the Wasteland characters where a few are scripted and some are just constructed characters more for combat. But every companion, I should say, in Broken Roads has that personality that we want. They fit a particular role in the story. They have an RPG archetype for combat and skills and puzzles, and they can interject in dialogue and so on. And yeah, we just needed a range of characters that fitted companions that fitted where we were at the different points in the story. But Chris, could you please talk about your most favorite part working on the art?
Working on the art in general, I guess it's just empowering the team to be able to produce the art that we do. It's very, very much a team effort. I'm not a 3D artist. We've got 3D artists on the team that create most of the artwork, specifically to the characters. It's bringing in all the Aussiness and making them real people. So even though I guess the character inspirations, we have to, and we are just by default inspired by what we see and what we absorb. But yeah, looking for things in real life, whether it's the environment, whether it's the characters, whether it's an animal. Hey, let's throw some kangaroos in here or something. It's getting it to feel real, and then tie in with the narrative as well. And just being able to create something unique that people don't expect, like working out problems with art. There are a lot of technical problems, and just giving ourselves the opportunity to ask, can we do this? Can we do that? And then solving it. You know, I don't think there's really a problem we've come across yet that we haven't been able to solve, which is awesome. And we've got quite a young-ish team, so it's really, really rewarding. Yeah.
Cool. I've just jumped over to the Steam chat and I see a couple of familiar names there. Jaybringer has asked, early in development, Tim said he created instruments from bits and bobs that you'd expect to find in post-apoc Australia. Can he give or show us any examples? So talk us through that one.
Here he goes.
This is a cigar box guitar made out of plywood, Tasmanian oak. I used nails for the frets. Had to use real guitar strings and real tuning heads, but yeah, this is one of them. It's horrible to play. It is not comfortable to play
Do
at
it.
all. No,
Do it.
you can't even hear it. It's so quiet. I don't even know if that's going to come
No,
through.
it's coming through.
It's coming through.
The nails are brutal on the hands, and they've started to
Ooh.
rust. They've gone rusty because I didn't seal them with anything.
That seems on brand.
But it is. It's very on brand. So I've got that. I've got another one here, which is, I call it the Wailing Craig because it makes some horrible sounds. But it's basically just Frankenstein from a bit of wood pickup. It's like a slide style. Like a slide style basically. And I just use a screwdriver as the slide bit, and I can plug it in and make some awesome sounds with that.
Nice.
That's a couple of them.
Is there anything that is non-spoilery that uses the Wayland Craig, or is it kind of wait and see?
Wait and see, I reckon. Yeah, cool. It's such a really cool sounding instrument. I reckon just wait and see. Cool. Yeah.
Zrani on Discord has asked if you could lift that up. So could you just show that again on the camera, please?
Yep. Sorry.
Cool. Awesome. I see Monty.
Very simple. It's basically just 2 points with the guitar string across it. And cool. Once you put it through a lot of processing, it sounds incredible.
Nice. Monty on the Run says, did you also nail a bunch of bottle caps to a stick? If not, why not? I think it's a very valid question, Tim.
I haven't made one of those yet, but I have made some shakers out of jars filled with bottle caps and stones and little rocks and stuff like that. But shaker stick is definitely in the back of my mind, so thanks for the reminder.
Nice. Cool.
For sure.
We have Thrive. I guess this is a comment for Kirst. The corrugated iron, animals, plants, etc. are so Aussie. I just love it. Really well done. So thanks a lot, Thrive. I'm going to jump back to the live questions on Discord. Zrani again, could you explain how the PC character backgrounds affect the story and gameplay, for example, starting skills or locations? So there are 4 origin stories. You can be a hired gun, part of a barter crew, a surveyor, or a jackaroo, which is, a little bit of a simplification to call it an Australian cowboy. It's a cattle ranch worker. I mean, Tim or Kirst, you can clarify that into an elevator pitch. Is that a fair enough description?
Yeah, you work with livestock. Yep.
Okay. So I think the easiest thing to understand is an Australian cowboy. Yes, they do affect the starting locations. Everyone starts in a similar area in Western Australia. There are a few different characters you will meet as part of your origin story, and they play a different role throughout the game. We, of course, have a convergence point where, okay, you're now sort of on the main track of the game, like many others that have an origin moment. They do have different starting stats. They basically give you, at the moment, the current design is they give you bonuses to certain particular skills and maybe bonuses to particular attributes. So they'll certainly suit a particular play style, but we're putting a hell of a lot of effort, as I mentioned earlier, into making as many viable builds as possible. So morality is decoupled from stats and origin story. So you can have, this type of character from that origin story playing as, very nihilistic, I don't know, hired gun. Or you can have this character with this stat setup playing as an exceptionally kind member of a barter crew. And we want all of those to be entirely viable. I just want to make sure I've captured every... Yeah, so they affect the story in that you will have some unique things that relate to the origin story, some characters that are significant to you, and also each origin story happens in the game world. So the 3 that you don't pick have a canon sequence of events that you will see the effects of. If you play, say, hired gun, you will see the effects of the other 3. Beyond that, hey, just wait and see, because that's something that we're working on extensively right through to the end game. That includes, here's a quest resolution that is only available to this type of character who also has this type of morality. So there's tons and tons of different options based upon the unique makeup of your character. Cool Oz Girl is asking, will you guys be on any PAX Oz streams? Could you list it at all? I need to add you guys to my Twitter. Thanks, Cool Oz Girl. Right now, we're not able to confirm any PAX Oz streams. I'd like to give a little bit more information about that soon. See what involvement we have. Maybe we have to do another live stream like this with all of the technical learnings we've had today. But yeah, wait and see, and we'll announce something soon. Let me just scroll up a little bit. M4 Rock says, will modding be easy, or will the modder have to sweat really hard to make said mod? It's kind of early for this question, but yeah. So at the moment, modding will not be really easy. We can't plan for modding tools, but there is discussion about whether we, do we, because it's not online or competitive in any way, do we hide the quest variables, the character stats, the world state from the player, from the user, I should say, in files that are easily editable. There isn't a firm decision that's been made on this just yet, and obviously it's different on console. But if we leave certain elements of the data and so forth open to the player, and we don't have to necessarily package the assets in a particular way that they can't easily be modded, let's see what the community can come up with. It's really just not been our focus. We have to get the critical path of the game done. We have to figure out the combat, stuff that was mentioned earlier. We have to fit everything within the scope to make sure we're shipping the good vision for the base game, and then we can start expanding with other things. I see there's another message just come in. Is that the office or your home, Craig? That's a lot of classic PC games. Well, this is my home office of the last 4.5 years. The PC games collection goes back quite literally to the 80s. So yeah, I have posted about quite a few of these on Twitter. I think if you can look at the Drop Bear Bytes Twitter, you can look at old photos of our classic games. There was a post maybe, I don't know, almost a year ago when we were moving house that I opened up a box and they were all just kind of laid out on the floor. I can drop a couple more pictures, but a lot of them are actually influences for the game, which somebody was asking earlier. There are Ultimas back there, and Bard's Tale and King's Quest, and the old TSR, SSI Gold Box games. So well spotted, Senna. All right, I'm going to quickly jump back to the Steam chat. Any chance of saying, burn this for a joke, and going back on the swag? I don't even know what that means, and I hope that the 2 Australians on the call know what that means.
I do not.
Burn this for a joke. Monty on the Run, can you Can you expand on that, please? For we are all confused. And then Monty says, and can you play 2-up in Broken Roads? You have asked a spoiler question, so I'm not going to respond to whether or not you can play 2-up in Broken Roads, Monty. Okay, back to the AMA questions on Discord. 1 second. Right, how much time and effort went into the Indigenous Consultation for this game? That comes from Liquid Colin. So this was obviously super important to us. I've only been in Australia a little under 5 years, originally coming from South Africa. Wanting to set a game in Australia was going to be, a challenge and a learning experience for me, as I had to become familiar with things that go beyond what the world sees as the stereotypical, what is Australia? Is it Crocodile Dundee? Is it, all of these things that you might have seen from, international media, I don't know, Neighbours and The Castle and, all those big ones that give you this impression, Shrimp on the Barbie, which, isn't really a thing. All of those stereotypes, we want to include some of those for fun. Cool, let's get that. But what else can I learn about Australia? And part of that is, of course, making an authentic Australian game. You have to have authentic and respectful First Nations representation. So in 2019, even before a single line of code was written, we were working with an Aboriginal cultural educator at the Narana Aboriginal Cultural Centre just up the road from the studio. They are in Grovedale near Torquay. And I then later at PAX 2019 attended a panel on Indigenous representation in games where I saw Keenan Muir, who's since joined the project, discussing this exact topic. And one of the things I really took away was, somebody said, normalize us through inclusion. Don't make the game about us, don't glorify, don't minimize, just normalize through inclusion. I was like, I really like that, the sound of that, just putting normal people and not centering it on anything, not centering the game on First Nation stories, not centering it on, your party just going through this part of the world. It's just, this is a necessary part. And if we're going to do this right, there's no way that I, as a, not even Australian person, could hope to do this. So we have now got 2 narrative consultants on board, Brooke Collard and Keenan Muir. They're being incredibly helpful with, having a look at the story, helping us define characters, like revealing, that's not necessarily the correct way to frame that, or, don't use that terminology, or, hey, did you know about this element? Chuck that in there. That works really well. There's a lot of really cool content coming up for one of the factions, some of the companions, and so on. And once we're at the right point, we will be working with at least 1, possibly 2 elders, just to give that kind of final sign off and make sure that everything is good and respectful and done correctly. As part of this, we're incredibly stoked to have Uncle Jack Charles, who you can hear his voice in the trailer. He will be voicing one of the characters in the game, and he is an elder himself, and having him cast his eyes over it, and he really likes what we're doing. He really likes the story. He likes the characters and so on. We're heading in the right direction. And yeah, like I said, this is extremely important, while at the same time we know that what we launch is probably not going to satisfy everyone. I think that's just the reality. But I would rather make a good faith, best effort attempt to do this right than exclude or, overplay us as, look at this great thing we're doing for Indigenous representation. We're just going to go with what makes sense for this game and be authentic and be respectful. So thanks for the question, Liquid Colin. I am just going to jump back to Discord. Are drop bears or mutant koalas present in the game? Now, Chris, yesterday I had a discussion with Jess. Jess is our producer. And I said, I'm going to be making some executive decisions because there's a running theme about certain questions, certain creatures people want to see, certain mutated, obviously the drop bears, emus, and so forth. And I am happy to confirm, regardless of how this affects the scope and how much Jess is angry with me come Monday, we will have some mutated creatures. We will certainly have drop bears, we will have wombats, we will have emus, and we will have numerous other things. Beyond that, I'm not going to commit. I can see Kirst's blood boiling, and I know that
It's not my blood boiling.
it's Jess's
It's
blood
not my
boiling.
It's not my blood boiling. I'm just saying, let Bianca at it, eh? Like,
No, it's gonna happen.
the
I'm
art
just kidding.
team
I've
is
chatted.
so excited for doing that kind of stuff. Yeah, so we've already put a lot of love, and we've got new kangaroo models, and we've already worked on some emu models, and so we're really keen to get it in there. It's just a matter of like make a game, and things have to happen in this order and that order. So
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, we were kind of holding off on discussing the creatures and so on until we could show them. We've shown the kangaroos and a few other little things if you look closely in some of the trailers. But the questions come up in so many places from so many different people on forums and Twitter and Discord, and just not worth dodging it. So, yep, there are going to be creatures. Some of them are going to be mutated. They are going to be the ones that we've just listed, and hopefully quite a lot more. But yeah, anything can change between now and launch, as is just always the way with video games. So please just be conscious of that. All right, I'm going to try
Dev block.
Exactly. And quickly going to jump back to the chat. So, the Steam chat, excuse me. Monty says, I do not like this situation at all. I'm taking my bag of stuff and looking for work elsewhere. Sorry, Monty, that we could not say burn this for a joke and going back on the swag in a manner that suits what you're asking for. Jaybringer, however, says he's got some ideas for a fangaroo. If we're interested, sure, drop us a tweet, send us a mail through the web form on the brokenroadsgame.com website, or come onto the Discord and drop us a line. Seno asks, the very important, pronounced M-U or E-mu?
It's emu, not emu.
Yep. So emu.
Emu.
So it was C. It was neither of the above.
More
Seno.
like E-E-M.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Emu,
Guys. Yeah.
not emu.
Emu.
Seno.
Emu. Like I'm you, but
Bloody
emu.
hell. Liquid Colin asks, an actual gameplay question this time. Is it possible to kill everyone? Straight up, no, it's not. It's not that kind of RPG in the sense that you can't just initiate combat anywhere. There are, certain rules and certain limitations that we're putting on how you can initiate combat, or how combat can be initiated onto your party. Again, more details once we reveal the full, here's what combat looks like, here's some of the changes that we're making, everything to do with the cover system that was asked earlier. But I'm happy to say that no, it's not a kill everyone game. Maybe if we had a larger team and more time and we could do all the QA and write all of the necessary quest flags and variables, that if this person dies, you can at least get an item that allows you to pass a moment later. We're just like, no, we can just cut out the kill everyone, and who knows if there's a super violent director's cut that allows you to kill people in the future, maybe then. But in terms of launching, in terms of all of our plans right now, definitely not. It's not possible to kill everyone.
I just saw a question in the live chat. Speaking of killing everything.
Well, certainly not. So, yep. Santig, either Santig TZ or Santigs, I heard there's many spiders, tarantulas in Australia. Any chance the post-apocalypse setting got rid of them?
Not a chance, mate.
Not a chance
Not
that
a
they
chance
did
in
not
hell.
get rid of them. So, Santig TZ, hell no, the post-apocalyptic setting did not get rid of all the spiders.
Have you seen where those things live? Have you seen it? Have you looked it up? They can survive anything.
They are incredibly hardy. All right, I'm going to jump back down to Ace Camel Akbar, who asks, will there be mounted camel combat? So,
If only. If only.
Great question. Maybe in a future DLC, no mounted camel combat at launch. Yeah, sorry to disappoint, but there are camels. They are central to the game. You can see them in the key art. They do play important roles, but mounted camel combat is not part of the plans. All right, we've covered the mutated drop bears already. We've covered the emus already. Tim, another from Senna. Did Aggro survive the bombs and become sentient?
Aggro started the bombs, mate. He is the instigator of this whole kerfuffle. Do you know who they're talking about, Craig?
I
I need
certainly
more
do not.
context.
I have.
Do you, Curse?
No.
Really? Aggro's Cartoon Connection.
Let us
Oh, I feel
and
so
the
old.
international viewers in on who this Aggro is.
They'll
please,
wonder.
Tim.
They'll wonder. Well, there was this kids show in the 90s was when I watched it, and it was this little puppet called Aggro, and he always had a couple of different presenters with him, I think, throughout the time, but it was always the same guy puppeteering
Oh,
him.
him.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it was great show. It was on in the mornings before school. It was awesome. So
I think
funny.
I was a bit young, but I
So,
know the
oh
face.
God, I'm old.
I
Yeah.
know the face.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks for that, because no, I'm not familiar with Aggro either.
There's some really good. If anybody wants to do some deep diving on the internet, type in Aggro's Cartoon Connection outtakes on YouTube or
Ooh.
something.
That sounds
Have
like
fun.
an
Yeah,
important
it's pretty
viewing.
good. It's pretty good.
This one again from Liquid Colin. What has been the biggest hurdle in making the game? I'm sure we've each got our own answers. Tim, what has been your biggest hurdle in making the game?
Honestly, being new to game dev, I've been writing music for many years, but writing music for the sake of writing music is completely different for writing music that is supposed to be interactable or, be in a world where the coding has a lot to do with how the music interacts than the actual music itself. So learning the programming side, or the very little knowledge that I've picked up, so thankful that we've got Jacques, who is just an incredible programmer who's taught me a lot. That has been the biggest hurdle, is learning how to implement all of the sounds and whatnot that I make. So without a doubt, that's been the hardest part for me. Yep.
Cool. Kirst, what about you? The biggest hurdle in making Broken Roads?
I don't know. I think maybe just the fact that this is the first game I've made and been a part of. There's a lot of uncertainty, and having to step up and obviously be an art director, yeah, like it's rewarding, but the game has gotten bigger and more serious, which is awesome. But yeah, it's always a challenge to have confidence in yourself, honestly. Making art's fun. Make a game together is great, but then you realize it's this big thing, and we're so happy to share it, and I am so happy that it's everyone's enjoying it. But at the end of the day, it is work, and yeah, it's been a couple of years experience, almost 3 now. So yeah, we've kind of like all grown up together, we say, as game devs. So yeah, I really couldn't say anything like specific other than that, just the overall experience. Yeah.
Cool. From my end, the biggest hurdle is, founding any studio and making a game is balancing the scope on the available resources, which generally amounts to available funding in all the different stages of an indie studio
That
life
too.
cycle. So yeah, slowly building the team. We are all remote. We did have some time where we were able to have a shared working space in Melbourne sometimes, or see each other in our various respective home offices and that kind of thing. We are remote, and remote with time zones adds challenges, but it's a completely surmountable hurdle. So the biggest thing really is you start with a bit of funding, you then get a vertical slice together, you then have to get that to the next stage. We're incredibly fortunate to be in Victoria, where there is such good state funding for this industry. And we actually got turned down the first time we applied to Film Victoria. We had to then bootstrap it a little bit longer to improve on that vertical slice. So point there being, hey, if you get knocked down once or twice, like keep going. Film Victoria have funded us 5 of our 6 applications. So they have been immensely supportive. But yeah, it's that hurdle of wanting to have every member of the team good full time and going, but having to work your way towards getting that funding. That's, I think, probably a common concern amongst most indie studios. Cool. Thanks, Liquid Colin. I am catching up on the Steam chat. Let's see. Mutated Salties. It's Monty on the run. Now I know, Monty, who you are. All I know is you sold me on this game at 3 a.m. in a hotel lobby. So, Tim, I don't know if you recall, I remember that Jethro and I were coming home. Jethro is a co-founder, and I believe, Tim, we were coming home one night at PAX 2019, and the guy behind the counter is obviously Monty on the run. Now it all makes sense. So cheers for revealing the who you are, Monty, and appreciate you having followed development ever since then. Cool.
I'm pretty sure Monty is Colin, Liquid Colin. I think that's him.
Right. So could you confirm
he had
that?
the same. Is that you, Cole? Are you Monty on Steam? Because I saw you put the same question in Discord and in Steam.
Okay.
He's probably gone. But anyway.
Cool. We are coming up to close to an hour of the late start of the live stream, so we're going to do a couple more, then wrap this up. Cool. Ozgirl's asking, do you plan to release zombies as a DLC for Broken Roads? I may have missed this, but what are the enemies in the game? I'm not going to talk about the enemies just yet. There's a whole load of varying, enemies. Zombies, I can say there is currently no plans for a zombie DLC release. That's not to say we could never do one in future, but right now, Broken Roads and zombies, we're not post-apoc with zombies. We are, slightly different direction in terms of the threat and the danger and so forth. Trying to ground things in what is a realistic, and obviously that's realistic, post-apocalyptic future Australia. Zrani asks, could you describe how the caravan functions and if it's more than just a resting base camp? So the caravan, or what we're calling the convoy, is something that moves along where the player is at certain points in the game. Then it does serve primarily as a resting base camp where all of your companions and certain secondary characters, that could be friends or family of your companions are. Certain companions also provide other, they've got skills, or they've got unique abilities, or they've got certain things that you can do. So early on, somebody was asking about crafting. It's like, no, there's no crafting, but there's like a recipe-based thing if you can find the correct things. That would happen at the convoy. There will be key story moments where you might be sent back to the convoy to have, a scripted discussion around a campfire. So we know that, at that moment, we're able to get all of the party members, all of the companions, all of the secondary characters, and anybody else that we need to around that campfire moment to sort of progress the story in particular ways. And there's a whole load of things to do with the convoy that are part of the narrative as well, both early game, mid and late game. Cool. Senna asks the super important, can I pet the dog? Of course you can. We're insulted by the question. Really, Senna. Now, Monty, I'm pretty sure I am the same guy, so Monty is the authority on who he is.
He's pretty sure. Not certain.
Yeah.
But
Monty, will party members leave if you do morality 180? So we don't allow for companions to leave you entirely in, say, the Infinity Engine, or maybe there's more recent games where this happens. If they really dislike what you're doing, they abandon you and they're gone. What might happen is they might return to the convoy, or you might discuss your plans, and people of a particular worldview might not want to go along with that plan. For example, hey, how are we going to solve the quest? Well, let's just go in and assassinate the leader. and somebody in your party is like, I really don't like that plan, I'm not going to go along. But they won't abandon you completely. We just made that decision kind of early in development. We'd rather have a narrative reason for them to not be along for certain things they don't want to be along, as opposed to just outright, no, I'm gone because you didn't complete this quest in time, or I'm gone because, I'm a paladin and you're evil. So we haven't got that mechanic going. Santic TZ says, what about relationships? Can I have a kangaroo girlfriend, boyfriend, or is it just limited with companions? I'm going to let Tim answer this, because anytime anything goes wrong, we blame Tim. So, Tim, can people have kangaroo girlfriends and boyfriends, and why not?
I don't know. Scope.
Yeah, no.
That's the magic word, scope.
The animation work required for that, would be astronomical.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
and then I'd have to write beautiful love scores, and that takes up time as
sound
well.
effects
Exactly.
The sound effects of kissing and whatnot. Yeah.
What about the ratings board?
Exactly. So
having enough trouble as it is.
Exactly right. So every single person who's interviewed us and every member of the team has requested that we have kangaroo relationships. We keep pushing back. Rather, I keep pushing back because I'm just a spoil sport. But like Kirsten says, the ratings board is an important consideration here. And in all seriousness, somebody did ask about the ratings board. What will we do if Broken Roads gets banned? I don't think it's going to get banned. I think that they learned from the Disco Elysium ban that their restrictions are too tight, and they're probably using some kind of archaic evaluation model or evaluation method, that certain blanket rules or blanket categories do really not apply for games made by adults for a mature audience that want to investigate themes in a mature way and present difficult topics and dangerous things in a particular way as well. If it gets banned, hey, cool, much more publicity. It'll probably result in more game sales for us. Seriously. But I just don't think it's going to happen that an Australian-made game funded by Australian state government, and we have help from various other some international, some federal level government support. It would just be kind of hilarious if it was banned. I think that'd make for some good press, but I'm pretty confident it won't happen. And just in case people don't understand, I was being incredibly sarcastic. We are not having kangaroo relationships. Not everyone has requested it. So no, just in case you take that out of context, there are no kangaroo boyfriend-girlfriend relationships in this game. So yeah, Monty, Colin, you asked that. Look, we want we're aiming for an adult rating. We want to see how much, foul language we can get away with, how much violence we can get away with, how deep we can explore the themes before people start pushing back. If you look at the games that are out there, they range from that are available, fully available in Australia. There's a lot of gratuity. There's a lot of violence. There's a lot of themes explored in ways that I think Broken Roads is doing slightly differently. So ultimately, I'd be very, very surprised. And if there's a problem with drug use or something like that, we can just have, beers that do the same thing, or other ways of just doing stuff that was done so simply in the Fallout games. Because I use a stim pack, I'm not immediately going to run out and take drugs. I think that correlation and causation have been mixed up by government ratings boards for too long. But no, Colin, in all seriousness, I really don't think that the government that funded us is also going to ban us. So, cool. All right, we've got a minute left on this. We're going to round things off with Cool Ozgirl. Will there be a beta for us fans at all? She's happy to break things and is pretty good at that. That is another one of those things that I am going to give a non-committal no to and neither confirm nor deny. Anything more than that and I will get in trouble. So, cool. Well, that wraps that up. I'm just going to see if there's nothing more on Steam. Monty says he'll send an international copy. He'll send us a money order for that if the rating board refuses classification. If the rating board refuses classification, we will, maybe we'll just have to have an Australian release, Australian build of the game or something like that. But we're pretty sure that we will do things the right way, so we don't have to compromise the content and the kind of questions and things we want to look at in any significant way. So cool. All right, that brings us to the hour. Thank you very much, everybody. Thanks for bearing with us as we spent 30 minutes getting our single digit from the 0 to 2 in the keyframe interval. And yeah, now that we've got things in order, we've got a couple more of these coming up over the weekend. Kirsten and myself will be online in about 5 hours' time with Sifter. Tim and myself will be on at 10 o'clock tomorrow doing live play commentary. And then 7 p.m. AEST on Monday will be a live art stream with, I believe, the entirety of the art team. Cool. Thanks very much, everybody. And I really appreciate all the questions and you taking the time to come and visit us. Bye for now.
Bye.
Well.